Captain Jin Woo sat in his command chair on the space station Aegis Prime. The station was huge and cold, floating in the dark space between stars. It had been 3 years since he took command of this place, 3 long years of watching empty space and listening to radio silence. Jin Woo was tired. His eyes hurt from staring at screens all day. The coffee in his cup had gone cold hours ago. Nothing ever happened out here. The other crew members often joked that they had the most boring job in the entire human fleet. They watched for signals from deep space, but the signals never came. "Captain," called Nari from her station. She was the communications officer, a young woman with sharp eyes and quick fingers. "I'm getting something strange." Jin Woo looked up. "Strange how?" Nari frowned at her screen. "It's very weak. Like it's coming from very far away, but it's definitely not natural. Someone is sending this." Jin Woo stood up and walked over to her station. The screen showed lines jumping up and down. It looked like static, but Nari was right. There was something else there. Something hidden in the noise. "Can you clean it up?" he asked. "I'm trying." Nari's fingers moved fast across her keyboard. "It's really broken up. Whoever sent this, they're in bad shape." For 20 minutes, Nari worked on the signal. Jin Woo watched over her shoulder. Other crew members gathered around. It had been so long since they found anything interesting. Finally, words started to come through the static, a woman's voice, scared and desperate. "This is Dr. Yunhai on planet Kepler 442b. We need help. Please, anyone who can hear this, we need help right now." Jin Woo felt his heart speed up. Kepler 442b was a colony world. 50,000 people lived there. Families with children, scientists and farmers and teachers, the voice continued. "They came 3 days ago. We don't know what they are. Big ships, bigger than anything we've ever seen. They started bombing us from space. Our defenses did nothing. Nothing at all." Nari looked pale. She turned up the volume so everyone could hear. "The cities are burning. Seoul 2 is gone. New Busan is just craters now. They're not trying to capture us. They're trying to kill all of us." Jin Woo grabbed the edge of Nari's desk. His hands were shaking. Dr. Yunhei's voice was breaking now. "They landed ground troops yesterday. We tried to fight, but they're so strong. They have armor we can't break. Weapons that cut through our buildings like paper. And they're taking people." "What does she mean, taking people?" whispered one of the other officers. The signal got clearer. Dr. Yunhai was crying now. "They're not killing everyone right away. They take the healthy ones, load them onto ships. We don't know why. We don't know where they take them. But we can hear screaming from those ships." Jin Woo felt sick. He had 2 children back on Earth, the same age as many of the kids on Kepler 442b. "We call them the Vorthak. That's what we heard them call themselves on the radio. They talk about us like we're animals, like we're food." The word food hit Jin Woo like a punch in the stomach. "I'm hiding in the ruins of the research center. There are maybe 100 of us left in this area. We can see their ships in the sky. They're not leaving. They're staying to hunt down everyone who's left." Static filled the signal for a moment. When Dr. Yunhai's voice came back, it was quieter. "I don't think we have much time. They're getting better at finding us. We can hear them coming through the buildings, breaking down doors. People are screaming, and then silence." Nari was wiping tears from her eyes. Other crew members stood frozen, listening to every word. "If anyone gets this message, please help us. Please don't let them do this to other worlds. Don't let them. Oh God, they're here. They found us. I can hear them in the hallway." The sound of heavy footsteps came through the signal. Something roared in the distance. Dr. Yunhai was whispering now. "Tell Earth what happened here. Tell them the Vorthak are coming. Tell them we tried to fight. Tell them we—" A loud crash, Dr. Yunhai screamed. More roaring sounds. The signal went dead. The command center of Aegis Prime was completely silent. Everyone stared at the speakers. Nari was shaking. Jin Woo felt cold all over. "How long ago was this sent?" he asked quietly. Nari checked her instruments. "The signal took 6 weeks to reach us. This happened 6 weeks ago. 6 weeks. For 6 weeks, Jin Woo had been drinking coffee and complaining about being bored. For 6 weeks, 50,000 humans had been dying while he watched empty space. "Get me Admiral Bo Young at Earth Defense Command," he said. "Right now." Nari worked fast to open a channel to Earth. It took several minutes to connect. Admiral Bo Young appeared on the main screen. He was an old man with gray hair and tired eyes. "Jin Woo," the Admiral said. "What's so urgent?" Sir, we just received a distress signal from Kepler 442b. The colony is under attack. Admiral Bo Young sat up straight. Attack by who? Unknown aliens. They call themselves Vorthak. Sir, it's bad. Really bad. They're not trying to capture the colony. They're wiping it out. Jinwoo played the recording for the Admiral. He watched the old man's face change as he listened. By the end, Admiral Bo Young looked like he had aged 10 years. How old is this signal? The Admiral asked. 6 weeks, sir. Admiral Bo Young was quiet for a long time. Kepler 442b is 3 months away at maximum speed. Even if we left right now, they're probably all dead, Jinwoo finished. Probably. Admiral Bo Young looked down. But we have to try, and we have to make sure this never happens again. Jinwoo stared at the empty screen where the signal had been. Somewhere out in space, an alien species had decided that humans were prey. They had attacked a peaceful colony world full of families and children. They had hunted people for sport or worse. For the first time in his life, Jinwoo understood what real anger felt like. Not annoyance or frustration. Real anger. The kind that burned in his chest and made his hands shake. The kind that made him want to hunt down every single Vorthak in the galaxy. Sir, he said to Admiral Bo Young, what are your orders? The Admiral's eyes were hard as stone. Get me the fleet command. It's time to show these Vorthak what happens when you hunt humans. Fleet Admiral Tae Min had not slept in 2 days. The emergency meeting room at Earth Defense Command was full of people talking at once. Generals, scientists, ship captains, and politicians all argued about what to do. We don't even know how strong they are, said General Park, a fat man with a red face. We could be sending our fleet to die. 50,000 people are already dead, shouted Admiral Bo Young, slamming his hand on the table. We can't just sit here and do nothing. Tae Min stood up slowly. Everyone got quiet. He was a tall man with scars on his face from the Mars Rebellion 20 years ago. When he spoke, people listened. How long to gather our fleet? He asked. 3 days for a small force, answered Captain Lee from ship operations. 2 weeks for a real fleet. We don't have 2 weeks. The Vorthak might move to another colony. Tae Min walked to the big screen showing a map of human space. Kepler 442b was a tiny dot far from Earth. But it was still human, still part of the family. I want every combat ship we have, every carrier, every destroyer, every cruiser. I want the experimental ships too, the ones we're not supposed to talk about. The room got very quiet. The experimental ships were humanity's biggest secrets. Weapons so powerful they scared the people who built them. Dr. Rossol, the head of weapons development, cleared her throat. She was a small woman with thick glasses and smart eyes. Admiral, the quantum disruption torpedoes have never been tested in real combat. What do they do? Asked Tae Min. They tear apart matter at the atomic level. Anything they hit just stops existing. How many do we have? 200. Maybe 300 by the time the fleet leaves. Tae Min nodded. Good, what else? Dr. Rossol looked nervous. The plasma cannons on the new cruisers. The shield breaker missiles. The kinetic bombardment satellites. I want all of it loaded and ready. General Park stood up. Admiral, those weapons could destroy entire planets. Do we really need that much firepower for one colony world? Tae Min turned to look at him. His eyes were cold. General, the Vorthak treated human beings like animals. They hunted our people. They took them away on ships to do God knows what to them. Yes, we need that much firepower. The next 3 days were crazy. Ships arrived from every corner of human space. The massive carriers Vengeance and Retribution came from the Outer Rim. Fast attack ships came from Mars. The huge battleships from Jupiter arrived with their crews ready for war. Engineer Min Ho worked without sleep to modify the faster-than-light drives. He was a thin man with oil-stained clothes and tired eyes. His job was to make the ships go faster than they were supposed to. The drives weren't made for this, he told Admiral Tae Min. Running them this hard could tear the ships apart. Will they get us there in 6 weeks instead of 12? Yes, but I can't promise all the ships will make it. Do it. By the end of the second day, the fleet was taking shape. 200 ships filled the space around Earth. It was the biggest war fleet in human history. Soldiers loaded weapons. Pilots checked their fighters. Engineers worked on engines and computers. Captain Wan Ki stood on the bridge of his assault carrier Vengeance. He watched the smaller ships flying around his massive ship like insects. His crew was loading the new quantum torpedoes into their launch tubes. Sir, said his weapons officer, these torpedoes could cut through anything the aliens have. Good, Wan Kai replied. I want them to regret ever hearing the word human. Commander Yujin sat in the intelligence center, studying everything they knew about the Vorthak. It wasn't much. The aliens were big, maybe 3 times the size of humans. They had thick armor and powerful weapons. They traveled in large ships with strong shields. But Yujin found something interesting in the signal from Dr. Yun Hai. The Vorthak talked to each other on radio frequencies humans could hear. They weren't trying to hide their communications. They're overconfident, she told Admiral Tae Min. They've probably never lost a fight. They don't think anyone can hurt them. They're about to learn something new, Tae Min said. On the 3rd day, Yujin's team broke into more Vorthak communications. What they heard made everyone angry. The Vorthak were talking about humans like they were discussing dinner. They argued about which parts of the human body tasted best. They laughed about how easy it was to catch human children. They made jokes about the sounds humans made when they died. Yujin felt sick listening to it. She had to leave the room twice to throw up. When she came back, her face was white with anger. Sir, she told Admiral Tae Min, they're not just killing people, they're eating them. The news spread through the fleet in hours. Soldiers who had been nervous about fighting unknown aliens suddenly became very quiet. The nervous energy changed into something else. Something darker. Captain Wan Ki gathered his crew on the main deck of the Vengeance. 2,000 Marines stood at attention. You all heard what the aliens are doing to our people, he said. His voice carried through the huge space. They think humans are food. They think we're weak. They think they can hunt us like animals. The Marines said nothing, but Wan Ki could see the anger in their eyes. They're wrong. We're going to show them what humans really are. We're going to show them that we don't get hunted. We do the hunting. Similar speeches happened on every ship in the fleet. Soldiers cleaned their weapons and checked their armor. Pilots ran practice missions. Engineers made sure every system was working perfectly. Dr. Rasul stood in the weapons bay of the Retribution, watching workers load the quantum disruption torpedoes. Each torpedo was 3 meters long and painted flat black. They looked ordinary, but each one could erase a city from existence. How many aliens do you think we'll face? Asked one of the workers. It doesn't matter, Dr. Rasul replied. We'll have enough firepower to handle whatever they have. But she was lying. She was scared, not of losing the battle, but of what humanity was about to become. These weapons were meant to destroy entire civilizations. Once they used them, there would be no going back. Admiral Tae Min stood on the bridge of his flagship looking out at the assembled fleet. 200 ships, tens of thousands of soldiers, weapons that could crack planets in half. It was beautiful and terrible at the same time. Sir, said his communications officer, the fleet is ready. All ships report prepared for departure. And the new drives? Engineer Minho's voice came over the speakers. Ready, sir. 6 weeks to Kepler 442b, maybe less if we push really hard. Tae Min took a deep breath. Once they left, everything would change. Win or lose, humanity would never be the same. They were about to show the galaxy what humans were really capable of when someone hurt their own. All ships, he announced over the fleet communication system. This is Admiral Tae Min. We're going to Kepler 442b to find the aliens who attacked our people. We're not going there to capture them. We're not going there to talk to them. We're going there to kill every single one of them. The response from 200 ships was immediate. Yes, sir. The Vorthak think they can hunt humans. They think we're weak. They think we're prey. Tae Min's voice got harder. They're about to learn they were wrong. Set course for Kepler 442b. Maximum speed. The fleet turned as one and jumped into faster-than-light travel. Behind them, Earth grew smaller until it disappeared. Ahead of them was 6 weeks of travel and then war. The Vorthak had made humanity angry. They were about to find out what that meant. The journey to Kepler 442b felt like the longest 6 weeks in human history. The fleet traveled through faster-than-light space in complete silence. No radio signals, no external lights, nothing that could warn the Vorthak they were coming. Major Dayun floated in the zero-gravity training room of the assault carrier Vengeance. Around her, 50 Marines practiced fighting in spacesuits. They moved slowly through the air, learning how to shoot and fight without gravity to help them. Remember, Dayun called out, the Vorthak are bigger than us, but size won't help them in 0G. Use that against them. Stay mobile. Don't let them grab you. One of the younger Marines, Private Kim, fired his practice weapon at a target. The recoil pushed him backward into a wall. His squad mates laughed. Kim, Dayun said, what did you do wrong? I didn't brace for the recoil, ma'am. Right, in space, every action has a reaction. Fire your weapon without thinking and you'll be spinning through space like a fool. The Vorthak will kill you while you're trying to figure out which way is up. The training continued for hours. Daiwun pushed her Marines hard. She knew they would need to be perfect when they faced the aliens. There would be no second chances. Colonel Han Su worked in his office studying everything they knew about Vorthak biology. The information came from the intercepted radio signals and a few fuzzy pictures from Kepler 442b before the colony fell. The Vorthak were big. 3 meters tall, maybe more. They had thick armor that seemed to be part of their bodies, not something they wore. Their arms were long and ended in sharp claws. They moved fast despite their size, but Han Su found weaknesses. The armor had gaps at the joints. The aliens seemed to rely on their strength instead of tactics. They were used to fighting enemies who couldn't hurt them. They've probably never fought anyone who could match their technology, he said to his staff officers. They're bullies. They only pick fights they know they can win. Until now, said Captain J, his second in command. Until now. Tactical Officer Jun Woo spent his days creating battle plans. The main screen in his office showed the Kepler 442b system. The planet was the third one from the star, with several moons and an asteroid belt nearby. We need to assume they have sensors watching for ships. Jun Woo explained to Admiral Tae Min. They'll see us coming before we reach the planet. Can we surprise them? Maybe. If we come out of FTL speed at the edge of the system, we might catch them with their guard down. But once they know we're there, the advantage is gone. Admiral Tae Min studied the battle plans. Jun Woo had done good work, but Tae Min was thinking about something else. This wasn't going to be a normal battle. This was going to be an extermination. Jun Woo, he said, I want you to change the plans. Sir? No warning shots. No demands for surrender. No chances for them to escape. The moment we see a Vorthak ship, we destroy it. Jun Woo looked surprised. Sir, that's not how we usually fight. The Vorthak didn't give our people any chances. We won't give them any either. As the weeks passed, the mood on the ships grew darker. The crews weren't nervous anymore. They were angry. Cold, quiet, deadly angry. Captain Wan-Ki walked through his ship's corridors and saw it in his soldiers' eyes. They cleaned their weapons with extra care. They checked their equipment twice. They spoke in quiet voices about what they would do to the Vorthak. The intelligence reports made everything worse. Commander Yu-jin's team kept breaking into Vorthak communications. Each new message revealed more horrible details about what happened on Kepler 442b. The Vorthak had captured thousands of humans alive. They kept them in cages on their ships. The aliens talked about which humans would make the best meals. They discussed the best ways to cook human meat. Yu-jin stopped eating for 2 days after hearing one particular message. A Vorthak commander was giving orders about preparing the soft flesh for the feast. He talked about human children like they were a special delicacy. Ma'am, said one of Yu-jin's junior officers, maybe we shouldn't listen to any more of these. No, Yu-jin replied. We need to hear all of it. We need to remember why we're doing this. Dr. Ra-Sol worked in the weapons lab, making final adjustments to the quantum disruption torpedoes. Each torpedo was now programmed with specific targeting data. They would track Vorthak ships and ignore everything else. She had also made improvements to the plasma cannons. The new ones could fire continuously for 10 minutes instead of just 2. The shield breaker missiles now had better guidance systems. Doctor, asked her assistant, are we sure we need this much firepower? Dr. Ra-Sol looked at him with tired eyes. Have you listened to the Vorthak communications? Yes, ma'am. Then you know we need enough firepower to make sure none of them escape. Not one. Engineer Minho's faster-than-light drives were holding up better than expected. Only 2 ships had serious problems, and his repair teams fixed them quickly. The fleet would reach Kepler 442b on schedule, but Minho was worried about something else. The drives were running so hot that they were changing the ship's metal structure. After the battle, many of these ships would need to be completely rebuilt. It's like we're burning our own fleet to get there faster, he told his chief engineer. Is it worth it? Minho thought about the messages from Dr. Yunhai, the screaming, the sound of people dying while aliens laughed. Yes, it's worth it. Captain Jin Woo remained on Aegis Prime, monitoring space for any more signals. He wanted to be with the fleet, but his job was to watch for other Vorthak attacks. Earth needed to know if more colonies were in danger. He hadn't heard anything from Kepler 442b since Dr. Yunhai's message. The planet was silent. That probably meant everyone there was dead. "Captain," called Nari from her station. "I'm getting something from the direction of Kepler 442b. Jinwoo hurried over. "Another distress signal?" "No, sir. It's Vorthak communications. Very strong signal. They're not even trying to hide it." Jinwoo listened to the alien voices. He couldn't understand their language, but Yujin's team had taught him to recognize certain sounds. The Vorthak were happy. They were celebrating. "They're having a party," Nari said quietly. "They're celebrating the destruction of the colony." Jinwoo felt that cold anger again. The aliens weren't just killing humans. They were enjoying it. They thought it was fun. As the fleet neared Kepler 442b, long-range sensors began picking up details of the system. The news was bad. Very bad. The planet's surface was covered with craters. Entire cities had been bombed into dust. The beautiful blue and green world that had been humanity's newest colony was now brown and gray. "Life sign readings?" asked Admiral Tae Min. "Very weak, sir," reported his science officer. "Maybe a few thousand humans still alive, scattered across the planet in small groups. And the Vorthak, 50 ships in orbit. Large ones. They're not hiding. They act like they own the system." Admiral Tae Min stared at the images of the destroyed planet. 50,000 humans had lived there just a few weeks ago. Now only a few thousand remained, probably hiding in caves and ruins. "Sir," said Junwoo, "we're picking up more Vorthak communications." "What are they saying?" Commander Yujin's voice came over the speakers from her intelligence ship. "They're arguing about whether to hunt down the remaining humans or leave them for later. Some want to move on to the next colony." "Next colony?" Admiral Tae Min felt ice in his stomach. "Yes, sir. They're discussing which human world to attack next. They have a list." The fleet continued toward Kepler 442b in deadly silence. Every person on every ship was thinking the same thing. The Vorthak weren't just raiders making one attack. They were starting a war to wipe out humanity, but they had made one mistake. They had given humanity time to get angry, time to prepare, time to bring every weapon they had. Admiral Tae Min stood on his bridge looking at the tactical display. 50 Vorthak ships against 200 human ships. It should be easy. But Tae Min wasn't thinking about winning the battle. He was thinking about sending a message that would reach every alien species in the galaxy. "All ships," he announced over the fleet communication system. "In 6 hours we will reach Kepler 442b. We will find the aliens who murdered our people. We will show them what happens when you hunt humans." He paused, looking out at the stars. No prisoners, no survivors, no mercy. The human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Kepler 442b system. 200 ships appeared in perfect formation, their weapons already powered up and ready to fire. Admiral Tae Min stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the tactical display. The Vorthak ships were exactly where the sensors said they would be. 50 large vessels orbiting the dead planet like vultures circling a corpse. "Distance to target?" he asked. 4 million kilometers, sir," replied his weapons officer. "Maximum range for quantum torpedoes." "Any response from the Vorthak ships?" "They're turning toward us, sir. Looks like they're surprised to see us." Commander Yujin's voice came over the communication system from the intelligence ship. "Admiral, I'm intercepting Vorthak communications. They're asking each other what human ships are doing here. What are they saying about us? They sound confused, sir. They don't understand why we came. One of them just said, 'The soft flesh cannot fight in space.'" Admiral Tae Min smiled, but it was not a nice smile. "Let's show them how wrong they are. All ships prepare to fire quantum torpedoes. Target the largest Vorthak vessels first." Across the fleet, weapons officers armed their most powerful weapons. The quantum disruption torpedoes had never been used in real combat, but they had been tested enough. Dr. Ra Sol's team knew exactly what they would do. "Torpedoes ready?" "Sir," reported the weapons officer. "Fire." 20 quantum torpedoes launched from the human fleet. They were small and fast, invisible against the black space. The Vorthak ships continued turning toward the humans, completely unaware that death was already flying toward them. The first torpedo hit a Vorthak cruiser. The ship simply stopped existing. One moment it was there, a massive vessel 3 times the size of a human destroyer. The next moment there was nothing. Not wreckage, Not debris. Nothing at all. More torpedoes found their targets. 12 Vorthak ships disappeared in the first 10 seconds of the battle. The remaining aliens finally understood what was happening. Vorthak communications are going crazy, reported Eugene. They're screaming about their ships vanishing. They don't understand what's hitting them. Good, said Admiral Tae-min. Fire another salvo. 20 more torpedoes launched. The Vorthak ships tried to run, but the torpedoes were faster. 8 more ships vanished into atomic dust. Now the surviving Vorthak vessels opened fire. Huge energy beams reached across space toward the human fleet. The first shots missed completely. The aliens weren't used to fighting enemies at long range. Return fire with all weapons, ordered Admiral Tae-min. The human fleet lit up space with weapons fire. Plasma cannons sent streams of superheated gas toward the alien ships. Shield-breaker missiles flew in swarms, designed to overwhelm enemy defenses. Kinetic rounds fired from railguns moved so fast they were invisible. The Vorthak ships had strong shields, but Dr. Rasol's weapons were stronger. The shield breakers hit first, creating holes in the alien defenses. Then the plasma cannons found their targets. Captain Wan Ki watched from the bridge of his assault carrier Vengeance as his weapons tore through a Vorthak battleship. The alien vessel was huge and covered with thick armor, but human technology cut through it like it was made of paper. Target destroyed, reported his weapons officer. Find another one, Wan Ki replied. The battle was completely one-sided. The Vorthak had overwhelming firepower and heavy armor, but they were fighting the wrong kind of war. They were used to beating down weaker enemies with brute force. They had never faced weapons that could simply erase them from existence. Sir, called the communications officer, the Vorthak are trying to surrender. Admiral Tae-min didn't even blink. Ignore them. Continue firing. Major Da-yoon launched from the Vengeance with her assault team. Their target was a damaged Vorthak cruiser that was still moving. Her Marines flew through space in armored suits, their weapons ready. Remember your training, she told them over the radio. These aliens killed our people. They ate our children. Show them no mercy. The Marines cut through the Vorthak ship's hull with plasma torches. They found the inside of the ship dark and full of smoke. Emergency lights flashed red. Da-yoon kicked her way through a corridor and came face to face with a Vorthak warrior. The alien was exactly as big as the intelligence report said. 3 meters tall, covered in natural armor with claws that could tear through metal. The Vorthak roared and charged at her. Da-yoon waited until it was close, then fired her plasma rifle directly into its face. The alien's head exploded in a cloud of hot gas. These aren't so tough, she told her squad over the radio. Her Marines moved through the ship like deadly ghosts. They found groups of Vorthak trying to repair their engines and shot them without warning. They discovered alien weapon storage and destroyed everything with grenades. In the ship's lower levels, they found something that made Da-yoon sick with anger. Cages. Hundreds of metal cages, most of them empty now, but some still had bones inside. Human bones, ma'am, called one of her Marines. You need to see this. Da-yoon followed him to a large room. Inside were freezers full of human meat, body parts stored like food in a restaurant. There were labels on the containers written in alien language, but Da-yoon could guess what they said. Burn it, she ordered. Burn all of it. Her Marines used their plasma torches to melt the freezers and everything inside them. The smell was horrible, but they kept working. They wanted to destroy every trace of what the Vorthak had done. Back in space, the battle was almost over. Only 15 Vorthak ships remained, and they were trying desperately to escape. But Admiral Tae-min had planned for this. Commander Eugene, he called over the radio. Are any of the Vorthak ships getting away? Negative, sir. Our fast attack ships are herding them back toward the main fleet. They have nowhere to go. Engineer Minho pushed the fleet's engines past their safety limits. Human ships that were already faster than Vorthak vessels became even faster. Every alien ship that tried to run found itself surrounded by human destroyers. Dr. Russell watched her quantum torpedoes work perfectly. Each one hit exactly where it was supposed to hit. Each one erased a piece of the enemy from existence. Her weapons were performing better than she had hoped, but she felt no joy watching the destruction. These weapons were too powerful. They gave humanity the ability to destroy entire species. After today, other aliens would fear humans in a way they never had before. The last Vorthak ship died screaming into the radio frequencies. Its final message was picked up by Eugene's team. It was begging, Yujin reported to Admiral Tae-min, asking for mercy, promising to leave human space forever. Too late for that, Admiral Tae-min replied. With the orbital battle over, the fleet turned its attention to the planet's surface. Long-range scans showed Vorthak ground bases scattered across 3 continents. Thousands of alien soldiers were still on Kepler 442b, probably hunting for the remaining human survivors. Launch kinetic bombardment, ordered Admiral Tae-min. Satellites hidden in the fleet released hundreds of metal rods. Each rod was 2 meters long and made of the hardest materials human science could create. They fell toward the planet at incredible speed. The first rod hit a Vorthak base and created a crater half a kilometer wide. The explosion could be seen from space. More rods followed, each one targeted at a different alien position. Colonel Han-Soo monitored the bombardment from his command ship. His computers tracked every impact, making sure no Vorthak ground forces survived. "Sir," reported his tactical officer, "all enemy positions have been eliminated." "Confirmed kills? Every Vorthak signature on the planet has gone dark, sir." Admiral Tae-min allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. The aliens who had murdered 50,000 humans were dead, all of them. But the battle had revealed something troubling. "Yujin," he called to the intelligence commander, "what did you learn about Vorthak technology?" "They're advanced, sir. Maybe not as advanced as us, but close. Their ships were tough and their weapons were powerful. But they fought like they'd never lost a battle before." "What does that tell us?" "They've been doing this for a long time, sir. Attacking weaker species. Taking what they want. They probably have a whole empire built on conquering others." Admiral Tae-min thought about this. The Vorthak weren't just random raiders. They were an established civilization that survived by destroying others. Earth needed to know about this. "All ships," he announced to the fleet, "prepare to return to Earth, but first we have one more job." "Sir?" asked Captain Wan Kai. "We're going to make sure every alien species in this part of the galaxy knows what happened here. We're going to broadcast the battle recordings on every frequency we can find." Commander Yujin worked with her team to prepare the message. It would include video of the battle, recordings of Vorthak communications about eating humans, and footage of the cages found on alien ships. "What's the message going to say?" asked one of her junior officers. Yujin looked at the images of destroyed Vorthak ships floating in space. "That humanity is not prey, that we protect our own, and that anyone who hurts humans will face the same fate as the Vorthak." The message was broadcast on dozens of alien communication frequencies. Within hours, it would reach every spacefaring species within 100 light-years. As the human fleet prepared to leave Kepler 442b, rescue ships landed on the planet's surface. They found small groups of human survivors. The space around Kepler 442b was quiet now. Where 50 Vorthak ships had orbited like hungry predators, there was only empty darkness and floating debris. The human fleet hung in perfect formation, their weapons still warm from the battle. Admiral Tae-min stood on his bridge looking at the tactical display. Every red dot that represented a Vorthak ship was gone. Every single one. In less than 3 hours, humanity had erased an entire alien fleet from existence. "Sir," called Commander Yujin from her intelligence station, "I'm picking up transmissions from across this part of the galaxy. The battle recordings we broadcast are being received by dozens of alien species." "What are they saying?" "They're scared, sir. Really scared. Some of them are asking each other if the recordings are real. Others are trying to figure out who the humans are and where we came from." Tae-min nodded. "Good. Fear would keep other aliens from making the same mistake as the Vorthak." Colonel Han-Soo's voice came over the communication system from his command ship. "Admiral, my teams have finished searching the planet. We found 17 more Vorthak ground bases, all destroyed by the kinetic bombardment. Any alien survivors?" "None, sir. We also found mass graves, thousands of human bodies. The aliens weren't just killing people for food. They were killing them for fun." The bridge went silent. Even after everything they had seen, the cruelty of the Vorthak still shocked the crew. Captain Wan Ki had returned from the surface of Kepler 442b with Major Da-un and her Marines. They brought terrible news about what they found in the alien bases. "It was worse than we thought," Wan Ki reported. "The Vorthak had workshops where they processed human bodies. They had recipes, instructions for cooking different parts of people." Da-un's voice was hard when she spoke. "They had trophies too, sir. Human skulls, children's toys. They kept souvenirs from every person they killed." Admiral Tae Min felt the cold anger again, but now it was mixed with something else. Determination. The Vorthak weren't just one group of raiders. They were part of something bigger. A whole civilization built on destroying other species. Yu Jin, he said. What did we learn from their ship computers? Quite a lot, sir. The Vorthak have been doing this for over 200 years. They've wiped out at least 12 other species completely. Humans were just the latest target. Do we know where their homeworlds are? Yes, sir. They have 7 major colonies and dozens of smaller outposts. Total population around 50 million. The bridge crew looked at Admiral Tae Min, waiting for his orders. They all knew what he was thinking. The question wasn't whether to attack the Vorthak homeworlds. The question was how many ships it would take to wipe them out completely. Dr. Ra-Sol had spent the last few hours studying the wreckage of Vorthak ships. Her teams collected samples of their armor and weapons. What they found was disturbing. Admiral, she reported over the video link from her research vessel, the Vorthak technology is more advanced than we first thought. Their weapons are almost as powerful as ours. Their ships are incredibly tough, but we destroyed them easily. Yes, sir, because they didn't expect us to fight back. They've been bullying weaker species for so long that they forgot how to fight a real war. Dr. Ra-Sol paused, looking at her data. Sir, if they had been ready for us, this battle could have been much harder. We won because we surprised them, and because we brought overwhelming force. This was important information. It meant other alien species might also be more dangerous than they appeared. Humanity would need to be ready. Engineer Minho was dealing with the damage to the fleet's faster-than-light drives. The 6-week journey at maximum speed had taken its toll. How many ships need major repairs? Asked Admiral Tae Min. 47, sir. The drives are burned out completely. But I can get the rest of the fleet back to Earth. Good. We need to report what we found here. As the fleet prepared to leave, the rescue teams were still working on the planet's surface. Dr. Yunhai and the other survivors were being loaded onto medical ships. They would need months of treatment for what they had been through. Captain Jin Woo had arrived with a supply convoy from Earth. His station, Aegis Prime, was being moved to the Kepler 442b system to watch for more alien attacks. Any word from Earth about what we do next? Asked Admiral Tae Min. Yes, sir, Jin Woo replied. The President wants to see you immediately, and Congress is calling for a full military mobilization. They understand what we're facing? They do now. The recordings you sent back convinced everyone. Humanity is at war. Commander Yu Jin had more intelligence from the intercepted alien communications. What she found made the situation even more serious. Sir, the Vorthak sent out a distress call before we destroyed their fleet. They warned their homeworlds about us. How long until their reinforcements arrive? Unknown, sir. But they know where Earth is now. They know humans are dangerous. This changed everything. Humanity had won the first battle, but the war was just beginning. The Vorthak would come for revenge, and they would be ready this time. Dr. Yunhai was strong enough to speak with Admiral Tae Min before the fleet left. She was still weak and scared, but she wanted to thank the people who had saved her. I never thought anyone would come, she said. When I sent that message, I thought we were all going to die alone. Humanity doesn't abandon its own, Admiral Tae Min replied. Never. What happens now? Will they come back? Admiral Tae Min looked out at the stars. They might try, but if they do, they'll find us ready. The human fleet returned to Earth carrying recordings of the battle and evidence of Vorthak crimes. The images of human cages and processing facilities were shown to the world's leaders. Within days, every nation on Earth was united in a way they had never been before. The shipyards began working 24 hours a day. New weapons were designed. Defensive systems were built around every human colony. The peaceful exploration fleet became a war machine. But the most important change was in how other alien species saw humanity. The battle recordings had spread across the galaxy. Every spacefaring civilization now knew that humans were not the weak, peaceful species they had appeared to be. Ambassador Kell of the Rigel Trade Federation was the first alien to contact Earth after the battle. His message was nervous and respectful. "We offer our condolences for the loss of your colony," he said in broken human language. "The Rigel Federation wishes to assure humanity that we have never and will never harm human civilians." Similar messages came from dozens of other alien governments. Species that had barely acknowledged human existence were suddenly very interested in being friends. Commander Yujin monitored the alien communications with great interest. Fear was spreading through the galaxy faster than light itself. "They're calling us the species that eats predators," she reported to Admiral Tae-min. "Some of them think we're more dangerous than the Vorthak ever were." Are they right? Yujin thought about the quantum torpedoes that could erase entire fleets, the kinetic bombardment weapons that could crack planets, the cold efficiency with which humanity had destroyed every Vorthak in the system. "Yes, sir, I think they are." 6 months later, the second Vorthak fleet arrived at Kepler 442b. They came expecting to find their ships in orbit and human survivors in cages. Instead, they found Captain Jinwoo's battle station and a recorded message. The message was simple and direct. Admiral Tae-min's voice, speaking in perfect Vorthak language that Yujin's team had learned from the captured computers. "You made a mistake when you attacked our colony. You treated humans like prey. Now you know the truth. We are not prey. We are the hunters. This is what happens to species that hunt humans. Leave our space and never return, or we will do to your homeworlds what we did to your fleet." The Vorthak ships left without firing a shot. Captain One-Key was promoted to admiral and given command of the new alien response fleet. His job was to make sure no other species ever repeated the Vorthak's mistake. Major Daeun became the head of the Colonial Defense Corps. Her Marines were stationed on every human world, ready to fight any alien invasion. Dr. Ra Sol continued developing new weapons, but now she was also working on defenses. She knew that humanity's reputation for overwhelming force would only protect them if they actually had overwhelming force. Engineer Minnie Ho designed new faster-than-light drives that could move entire fleets across the galaxy in weeks instead of months. If another alien species threatened humanity, the response would be swift and decisive. Admiral Tae-min kept his promise to Dr. Yun-hai. The Vorthak homeworlds were found and mapped. When they refused to surrender unconditionally, humanity showed them the same mercy they had shown the colony on Kepler 442b. None of the Vorthak species was extinct within 2 years. Their planets were turned into memorial worlds where the names of every human who died on Kepler 442b were carved into stone monuments. But the most important change was invisible. Throughout the galaxy, alien species looked at humans differently now. They saw the peaceful diplomats and trade representatives, but they remembered the battle recordings. They knew what lay beneath the civilized surface. Dr. Yun-hai recovered and returned to her work as a scientist. But sometimes she would look up at the stars and remember the sound of Vorthak ships in the sky. She would think about Admiral Tae-min's promise that humanity would never abandon its own. She was one of the few humans who truly understood.